How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to Season 14 in the Nerd Cave. In today's video, I have some extremely entertaining battles for you, featuring something that I like to call letting the algorithm pick my team. Now, if you didn't catch it in the intro, what I did basically is I went into my battle screen and I deleted all my battle parties for the Great League. And when you do that and then you enter a battle, the game will just randomly select 3 Pokemon for you. And you would think that the game would try to give you Mons that are close to 1500 or maybe your double charge Mons, but in fact, you are just as likely to get a 1350 CP Anorith than you are your 1500 CP Medicham. And I have over 175 fully optimized double charged PvP Mons for just the Great League, and it still gave me ridiculous teams that make no sense. Single charged, under-leveled Mons, and I didn't even know what I was getting until the battle started. So, and oftentimes I didn't even know the movesets until the battle started. So this is just completely random, and I did this for 30 battles and actually won 14 out of 30 of the battles, which I was not expecting at all. There are some just ridiculously improbable wins that I had absolutely no right to win, and then I just got completely obliterated in some battles as well. So there are just a wide variety of entertainment in this video, and you guys are not going to be disappointed. So we're going to get right into this, and very briefly before we do, I do want to say I have a Google Drive form now available for battle submissions. I will have that in the description of this video, and I will be posting that now in the descriptions of all my previous, or excuse me, in all my future videos. So if you got some awesome spice or some fun teams to send me, send them in and I will do my best to feature you on the channel. So without further ado, before this gets too long, let's jump into these battles and see what this team can do. So getting into this first battle right away, this is my first battle of the season. The game has given me a Porygon, and I have not made a Porygon, so this is a single moved hidden power Porygon with Hyper Beam into a Scrafty, and the game has graciously also given us a 1406 single moved Mightyena in the back. So our whole team, as you see, our third Mon is in a Alolan Marowak, is just completely core broken by a Scrafty, and the opponent actually farms all the way down on my Mightyena. Fortunately, I at least grabbed his shield, but now I'm just like, I'm going to get swept by a Scrafty in the first battle of the season, so I'm just like, I'm going to call a bait here, and the opponent actually acid sprays my Marowak, and now I shield thinking, is he actually even double charged here? And he is double charged, and then he goes for the foul play, and we correctly shield it. So what a ridiculous call. I think if I let that foul play go, I get one-shotted, and then the opponent brings in a Magcargo to our Alolan Marowak to tank the Bone Club there. So this is not looking good whatsoever. I still don't even know what type hidden power my Porygon is running, so I just bring it back in, hoping that I can farm down, and as you see, it's saying not very effective. So no, I still have no idea what type it is, but we're probably going to lose this game. But the opponent actually goes for an overheat there, debuffing his attack, and this is going to allow us to farm down the Magcargo, and I'm just going to blindly Hyper Beam whatever comes in. Probably going to be the Scrafty, and we're just going to have to hope that somehow our basically 0 HP Marowak can take out whatever's in back. And it's actually an Escavalier, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is so disappointing, because as you're going to see, I'm not going to make the Shadow Bone. Even though these Fire Spins are double super effective, this Bone Club is not going to KO, and the Escav is just going to be just now getting to their Drill Run in. I was like, oh my gosh, what a close game. But check this out. This opponent is running Acid Spray on their Escav. The Acid Spray does not KO, and we win the first game of the season with an under-leveled Mightyena and a single-moved Porygon. So what a ridiculous way to start the video. I cannot believe I won that game, and that is just the beginning, because we had some even more fun battles than that one. So in the second battle of the season, by the way, some of these are actually in order. We have what appears to be another under-leveled Golbat with, I think it was just running Poison Fang there, and we have a under-leveled Mantine as well, 1391 CP. single moved running Bubble Beam. And I'm just like, what do I even do here? So I brought the Mantine in. Again, not even knowing what moves it had. Fortunately, it does have Bubble Beam, and the opponent actually shields our Bubble Beam. But since this is an underleveled Mantine, it looks like this second Rock Slide probably will, yeah, put me into farm down range. So still really not a great situation, because as you see in the back, the game has given us an Omastar, and this is actually my Shadow. I knew at the time this was my Shadow Omastar as well, which is extremely, extremely glassy. So yeah, I'm just sitting here like, what do I do? I'm going to bring in the Golbat, I think. The 1437 Golbat, by the way, to tank this Rock Slide. Fortunately, he is double debuffed. I just have to hope that he stays in here and doesn't switch out to reset the debuff. So I bring in the Omastar, I tank the move on the Golbat, and now I'm just like, I know this is a Rock Slide and it's double debuffed, but Omastar, especially the Shadow, is just so incredibly glassy. I have to shield. So I shield up. And I'm going to throw the double resisted Rock Slide here on the CMP to his next. And I'm hoping maybe if I can get this last shield, maybe, just maybe, Omastar can 1v3 this man's team. So I'm going to shield this next Rock Slide. We are now all shields down. And I'm going to, again, build up to 5 and CMP tie him to his next Rock Slide. And I'm hoping that this double resisted Rock Slide is going to KO. And it actually does. So can Omastar 1v3? They bring in a Scrafty. We get to the Hydro Pump. How much does a neutral Hydro Pump do on the very bulky Scrafty? And it nearly one-shots from full health. So we bring in the Golbat to tank the move. This is just a power-up punch. And we just have to hope that there's something very weak in the back to Golbat. What's it going to be? And it's a Registeel. So at this point, I was just like, this game's over. All he has to do is just over farm the slightest bit on my Golbat, and he will outpace my Omastar. But what you're going to see is the opponent actually Zap Cannons right away, and if he's at 0 energy, it will take 16 turns for him to get to a Zap Cannon, and it will take 16 turns for me to get to my next Hydro Pump. And if this is a single moved Registeel, which it is, we actually outpace the Registeel. We should have won CMP there if that was a Zap Cannon, but I think he overtapped maybe. But either way, we take a very, very improbable game 2. I could not believe I won that one as well. So into the next one here, we have what looks to be a Durant, which again, I have not built a Durant, into a shiny Malamar. But if you think about this, this thing is running Psycho Cut, and it's a Dark and Psychic type, so it's going to be taking double super effective from our X-Scissor. So the algorithm has effectively hard countered this man with a Durant, and a 1467 Durant as well. So you have got to be kidding me. How does that happen? And then the opponent brings in a Berserker, and of course the game has given us my double charge Lucario to answer this Berserker. So very, very unfortunate for the opponent so far. We fully farmed down after shielding the close combat. And what are they going to bring in here? They bring in a Skarmory. So at this point, the opponent is getting core broken by a Lucario and a Durant. So you've got to love that. We throw the Shadow Ball, they let it go. We're going to throw the Power-Up Punch. He's probably at this point going to just let this go as well. He knows it's a Power-Up Punch, and he will get to his Sky Attack here. And at this point, I'm just saving shields for the Durant, because this thing's an absolute beast, apparently, for this man's team. So we bring in our third, which is a single-moved Bubble Dynamic Punch Poliwrath. And this should just be either a Super Power or a Foul Play. So we're going to let this go. It was a CMP tie. We should be getting this last shield here with the Dynamic Punch, and I have the X-Scissor loaded on my Durant. So we're going to hard swap here, snipe the opponent with the X-Scissor, and that's going to be a good game 3. So this is proof that the algorithm does in fact go both ways, as the opponent loses to a Durant. And this battle here, this one's really fun. This shows you that sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to the teams that it gives you, because we are running a 1453 single moved fully ice moveset Cloyster into the opponent's Mawile. And as you see, the game has given us a 1350 Anorith as well as an Aurorus. So our team is triple weak to Steel. And I'm just like, well, this is a loss. How am I going to win this one? So I stay in. I'm just like, I guess I'll throw the Avalanche here. It is resisted, but as you see, it does do quite a bit of damage. Mawile's pretty glassy, and I actually just decide to use the poor Anorith as a third shield here. So I switch it in and play rough one-shots basically from full health. So Anorith goes down, being used as a meat shield, and I guess I'm like, well, I guess I'll just bring in the Cloyster and hope that he's very weak to ice in the back, because we now have 2 ice types into their steel type. And I actually think that I call... Do I shield this? No, I call the Iron Head here. And Iron Head actually doesn't KO, which is crazy. And then the opponent brings in a Waterfall Empoleon. So they had 2 steel types into our triple weak to steel team, and they let the Avalanche go again just to BM us there. They still have 2 shields, and I'm just like, well, yeah, no point in shielding here. I'm just going to let myself go down and save myself the misery of shielding and then getting farmed down. So, yeah, that battle, I just get absolutely destroyed, and there are quite a few battles that just are like that, where I just get absolutely wrecked, have no chance. So, next battle, looks like we have potentially a Rhydon that it gave us. We'll have to see if that was a Rhydon. So again, I'm just jumping right into these. I'm not even looking at the team, and it is a Rhydon, and the opponent has an Ampharos, and this is a Mud Slap Rhydon as well. A single moved Earthquake Mud Slap Rhydon, and the opponent is staying in with their Ampharos. I know this is just a brutal swing, so I let it go, and I'm going to fully farm down this Ampharos. And I'm like, they have to be super weak to this thing if they stayed in. And they bring in a 1500 CP Mud Slap Dugtrio. So I throw the Earthquake here, I get the shield, and I safe switch into my single moved Frost Breath Lapras, and I'm going to fully farm down this Dugtrio. I'm going to shield. I literally have no idea what this is going to be. I was thinking it was going to be a Mud Bomb, but it's actually a Stone Edge. So we shield the Stone Edge. What do they have in the back that did not want to see our Rhydon? And it's a Togedemaru. And since we saved our Rhydon, 1 Mud Slap is probably going to do like a quarter of this thing's health. And they call the move. It's an Ice Beam, but it actually does a ton of damage. And they're farming up a ton of energy. What are they going to throw at my Lapras here? I have no idea. And they throw a Gyro Ball at our Lapras, and now we just bring in the Rhydon, and 2 Mud Slaps destroys the Togedemaru. And again, another improbable win. Somehow the game hard counters that man with a Rhydon, a single moved under-leveled Rhydon. So wow, this was a really fun challenge, guys. I would strongly not recommend doing it unless you're going to start at rank 1, because I think you would probably just lose a ton of elo if you did this at higher ranks. And in this game, the opponent had a Charizard into our Water Gun Lantern, and they bring in a Defense Deoxys, so I counter them with an under-leveled single-charged Claydol, because Claydol fully walls every single move that Deoxys can know. Even though we're single-moved and only running Psychic moves, they are throwing double-resisted Thunderbolts and counters, and check this out. The opponent actually surrenders to a 1437 CP Claydol into their Deoxys. I was just like, you've got to be kidding. Like, how does the game counter the opponent with that team? And we don't even get to see our Ludicolo in the back. So, these games are just flying by. And this is actually, I think, the first battle that the game actually gave me a fully double-charged team. But unfortunately, we led Noctowl into a Steelix, and I'm like, I have another flyer in back, so I bring in the Togekiss, and the opponent actually switches into a Pelipper, but he stayed in a little bit, so this is actually going to give us a chance to at least get shield advantage here. So I'm going to throw the Ancient Power, and this probably would KO if the opponent doesn't shield. So I'm thinking that he probably actually will commit a shield, and he does. And I'm hoping that he actually throws some energy here, because I think he might have been able to Wing Attack beat down, but he actually does throw some energy. So we get ourselves a shield advantage, and now I'm just going to bring the Noctowl in and probably commit to a very aggressive Wing Attack farm down here. So I'm committing to the farm down, and he's building up a lot of energy, so may actually go for the Hurricane, so I am going to respect this. And it is actually the Hurricane here, so very nice shield there. And he will be bringing back in the Steelix, but Noctowl is very bulky, so I'll just be tanking these Psychic things for days. And my goal here is going to be to basically get this opponent's last shield, do some damage to this thing, and then save my last shield for my Samurott back. Because I happen to know this is my Samurott that's running Hydro Cannon and Blizzard. So I'm hoping that this thing will be able to sweep the end game if I give it a shield advantage. So I tank the Psychic Feigns. I am getting to another Shadow Ball. This should just about KO if he lets it go. So probably will shield, and he does shield. So now I'm bringing in the Samurott. What's the opponent going to have in the back? And they have a Swampert. And since we're running Blizzard, we should be able to one-shot this thing. And he actually goes straight for a Hydro here, which is a mistake. I let the Hydro go. I'm going to overfarm just before the opponent gets to another Hydro, and I'm going straight for the Blizzard. Is the Blizzard going to one-shot the Swampert? And it does, and now we should just be able to get to our Hydro Cannon. He does get to a move, but even if he's at the back-to-back, we now will have the energy for the Hydro Cannon. And our triple charge, or our triple double charge, I should say, team is actually going to get a win here into the opponent's pretty meta team there, so very cool win. I was thrilled to actually get to use some decent Pokemon there, because up to that point, I had been getting absolute trash. So, next battle here. Looks like we had an Entei in the back on this next battle. So, I'm really excited to see what I can do with this team. And I have a Skarmory. I think this is actually not my double charge Skarmory. My double charge one is at 1500, and it's actually, yeah, it's my single charge Sky Attack Skarmory. And the opponent, unfortunately, brings in a Pelipper, which, if you look at my back line, I have a Chestnut and an Entei in the back, so I can't really bring those in. So I'm just going to have to stay in with the Skarmory, and unfortunately, Medicham is going to probably have some good matchups in the back. So I'm just going to try to get myself a shield advantage, if at all possible, and hope that either Entei or Chestnut can sweep with a shield advantage. So I'm staying in with the Skarmory. As you see, we tank the Weather Balls. They don't do too much damage. And this Sky Attack probably will nearly KO if they let it go. And it doesn't quite KO, but I think, yeah, we do get ourselves a shield advantage, and we maintain switch. But I didn't want this Bastion on it. They bring the Bastion on in. I didn't want it to get an energy lead on my my Skarmory there, so I bring in the Chestnut. And this is unfortunately my old Chestnut that's running Energy Ball and Superpower. I do have a Frenzy Plant Chestnut, but this is going to be a little bit trickier for us now, because Energy Ball just does not hit as hard as the Frenzy Plant. And this Medicham, as you saw, is actually running Ice Punch. So this is going to be very tricky. What I'm realizing is I need to stall out this Switch Clock with moves and then try to make a catch. Otherwise, I think this Medicham will take out my Chestnut. And I need to get a Superpower off onto the opponent's Bastiodon, because Entei will get absolutely destroyed by a Bastiodon. So I'm looking, my Switch Clock's not quite up yet, but just as they get to the Ice Punch, it comes up. I bring in the Entei, I bank the Superpower, and the Medicham is on 1 HP. He's going to be bringing in the Bastiodon, but all I have to do here is get this thing into Superpower range. And it looks like he's committing to the farm down. And the Entei actually makes the Flamethrower as well. And that's just going to guarantee that the Superpower will KO. They're now at half health. I've got the Superpower loaded. He's going to throw the move on the CMP tie, but Chestnut wins CMP. And their Medicham is at 1 HP in the back. So what a crazy game there. We actually managed to beat a pretty meta team again. A Medicham Bastiodon core with an Entei. So you love to see it. And this one was absolutely crazy. I think this is another loss, but this one was hard counter city for me, and I managed to make it very close, because as you're going to see, this opponent is running an Alolan Marowak into our 1400 CP Monferno, and our Monferno is running Ember and low sweep, so we're fully walled by this Marowak. And what I'm recognizing is if I throw a low sweep at this thing, he's probably going to realize that I am a noob and probably just fully farm me down. So I actually don't throw a charge move, and the threat of a move actually forces the opponent to throw a Bone Club. So we get taken out there, and we have a Rock Throw Graveler coming into this Marowak and a Masquerain in the back. So I actually tried to catch a triple resisted Bone Club there, but the opponent holds onto their energy, of course, and Shadow Bones my Masquerain, and they bring a Shiftry into our Masquerain, so not a good matchup at all for the Shiftry. So I'm thinking, what do they have in the back if they're bringing a Shiftry into our Masquerain? So I do shield. I unfortunately get baited. I'm going to bait myself with the Bubble Beam. It is slightly lower energy, and then I'm probably just going to commit to the farm down here. I'm expecting there to be another grass type in the back, since he's bringing a Shiftry into our flying grass type. So going to shield, probably going to be another Leaf Blade, and I'm going to farm down, and unfortunately I'm probably going to have to Bubble Beam this Marowak as soon as it comes in, because one Fire Spin would take us out, and we're just going to have to hope that our very low health Masquerain and our Rock Throw Graveler can take out the backline, but unfortunately it's actually a Ferrothorn, so I was like, if I could have called one of those Leaf Blade baits against the Shiftry, I actually might have been able to win this, because these Bullet Seeds are double resisted, but unfortunately, even though they're debuffed here, I think this Power Whip is basically going to KO, plus a couple more Bullet Seeds, so yeah, it does do a ton of damage, and they still have a shield, so I throw the Rock Blast, but it doesn't look like I'm going to make another. And unfortunately, that's going to be a very close loss there. As you see, they do farm me down, and now they're going to have the Power Whip loaded for the Masquerain and Beck. So GG's there. As I played this team more, I basically realized that the further I got, the more double charge, like fully powered teams I was facing. As you see, I'm in rank 6 now, and I think in rank 6 I literally only won one battle. So I definitely started out stronger in like the earlier ranks, and as it went on, I was just getting absolutely wrecked. As you see in this battle, we actually have a Toucannon into their Jellicent, and this is actually a really nice matchup for our single move Toucannon, because we're running Bullet Seed and they're running the Hex moveset, and unfortunately they do have Surf. So as you see, that Surf actually does like half of our HP, which is crazy, but we're still double resisting their fast move. So I go for the Drill Peck. They should be at another Surf here, but they actually don't throw it. So I'm actually going to potentially force a shield with my Toucannon into their Jellicent, and I do force a shield. And at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to let this go. Like, I'm not going to commit a shield on a single move Toucannon, and I'm going to bring in my Azu. And this is actually my level, like, 30-something Azu. This is not an XL Azu. And this is, unfortunately, my Ice Beam Play Rough Azu as well. So I do, unfortunately, over-farm here. And I should have just thrown the Ice Beam earlier, and the opponent actually wins CMP. So I'm actually going to have to commit a shield here, which is really unfortunate. And if you notice, I have an Excadrill in the back. So I was thinking, if they're running a water type on the lead, they may be weak to Excadrill in the back. So I'm actually going to undercharge this, get one more bubble, and then save my remaining shield for the Excadrill in back. So what do they come in with? They come in with a Registeel. I bring in the Excadrill, and the opponent's not switching out here. And then they bring in a Kingdra. So looking like Excadrill may be able to sweep this game here. I am going to throw this Drill Run. Excadrill hits extremely hard in the Great League. As you see, that does over half of the Kingdra's health. And I overfarm as much as possible. Don't want to risk him getting to an Octazooka. And I throw my next Drill Run here, and they actually just let it go. They're putting their full faith into Registeel here. But unfortunately for them, we still have a shield, and we get to these Drill Runs very, very quickly. I do shield their Focus Blast. I'm going to get to this Drill Run here, but I recognize that I think he will just barely outpace me, so I'm actually going to have to bring in the Azu at some point to force his energy. So I throw the Drill Run, I get his last shield, and now I'm going to bring in the Azu, and I'm actually not going to throw a resisted move here, because I want him to think I have Hydro Pump, and that's exactly what happens. He's forced to throw. The threat of a Hydro Pump forces his energy, and now Excadrill is going to outpace the Reggie to the next move, and Drill Run is going to be basically one-shotting this Reggie, and one more Mud Shot does the trick, and that's a GG there. So that was actually a pretty fun one there, with Toucannon hard winning the lead. And I believe this is actually the last battle, guys, so I hope you have enjoyed this format. This is definitely something I've thought about doing in the past, but really just didn't feel like tanking a ton of elo doing it, so that's why I waited for the beginning of the season, because that's really your best chance, I think, to succeed with this method. So, final battle, we are running a Christmas Stantler with Zen Headbutt and Megahorn into an Altaria. And as you see, this is a 1365 Stantler as well. And we are running a double bug backline. So basically, our Altaria here is just going to fully wreck our entire team. I bring in my Venomoth here, and it is running Confusion, and this savage opponent is going to get my shield here, and then check out this play by the opponent here. We go straight for the Poison Fang, and the opponent apparently knows the Venomoth counts, and he catches my Poison Fang onto the Registeel. I bring in my Heracross, and this is not even my Heracross that's running close combat. This is my Rock Blast Megahorn Heracross, so I'm going to have to give up my final shield already. And the opponent now has a 2-0 shield advantage, and he gets the attack debuff on my Heracross. And I'm just like, well, this game's over. His Altaria is just going to sweep my backline now. I actually do decide to play it out just for fun. I did not quit any of these battles, guys. I played them all out, and at the very least, we are running Rock Blast, so we're going to be able to potentially get both shields here. And we actually do get both shields, and we actually might outpace them to another one, and we actually do outpace, so this is our third Rock Blast, but unfortunately, since we're debuffed, I don't think this is going to quite KO, and it doesn't. So I actually decided to sack the Venomoth. Since they had the Registeel, I thought maybe they were running double Steel. So I sacked the Venomoth. I'm going to try to farm down, but he switches into his Medicham. And unfortunately, if he's running Ice Punch, which he actually is going to outpace me there. I was really wanting to see how much damage a Mega Horn did on the Medicham. But unfortunately, we get taken out. And I believe that is the last battle. Yeah, that's the last battle. So some absolutely crazy battles. There were some more fun battles that I had, but to avoid making this video like a 35-minute video, I just picked the most fun ones that I thought were the most fun, at least. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this format. This is definitely something I want to do again in the future if you guys like it. And also let me know which of those mons you just saw in action you thought was the most exciting or the most spicy. And depending on what you guys say in the comments, I may consider making a full-length video featuring that mon. So thanks again for watching, and remember again to check out Jamie Finn's Triple Shadow video featuring my shiny Shadow Hypno. Again, I will have a link to that in the description if it's out by the time this video is posted. So again, if you guys have not subscribed, consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.